All right, January 1st, we head to New Year's 2024. Monday, the ReliaQuest Bowl gets us started in Tampa Bay. Wisconsin versus LSU. Jayden Daniels, of course, not going to play, so the Garrett Nussmeier era is underway. And I think one of the most interesting storylines in all of SEC Bowl season is a guy like Garrett Nussmeier getting to start every single day as the number one guy for 15 straight practices, working with the number ones, regardless of what receivers are out there, against a Wisconsin team that, from a talent standpoint, is vastly overmatched by an LSU team that's got to find a lot of answers at a lot of positions for next year if Brian Kelly wants to continue, because they're going to be replacing a lot of people at LSU in key positions all over both sides of the ball. 10-point favorite, the LSU Tigers. This, to me, is exclusively about Garrett Nussmeier and the new era of LSU football.
100%. I think one of the early kind of storylines to watch next year in the SEC is how good the quarterback play in this league could be next year. Because if you add Quinn Ewers and or whether it's Quinn Ewers or Arch Manning, and we think Jackson Arnold could be pretty good. Jalen Milroe's back, Carson Beck is back, and Garrett Nussmeier has shown a lot
Jackson
too.
Dart.
Jackson Dart, Connor Wigman. I mean, we could, Nico
Graham
at
Mertz.
Tennessee.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really strong year potentially for quarterbacks in the SEC. So we've seen some good things out of Nussmeier. We saw it last year in the SEC championship, and at other times he's played well. And it looks like he's going to have probably Malik Nabors and Brian Thomas here. So if that's the case, I think it's going to be hard for Wisconsin to keep up. And maybe even without one of those receivers or both, it's still hard for Wisconsin to keep up. But this is a showcase game for Nussmeier. It'll show us just maybe how far he's progressed since last season. Just how well he performs is something intriguing to me about the bowl season. I thought Wisconsin underachieved this year a little bit. Luke Fickell's first year. They won't have Braylon Allen. They've had some injuries at quarterback and receiver. So they've got to find a way to probably slow this game down a little bit. I know with Longo and the tempo that Wisconsin wants to use, a little different than previous years, but they're going to have to find a way, I think, to slow down Nussmeier and those LSU receivers. I think this is a tough matchup for Wisconsin.
I think one of the most important things to remember, because I think a lot of people's image of Garrett Nussmeier is coming in for Jayden Daniels against Alabama on the road in a very difficult and adverse situation. And a quarterback who is coming off the bench is a totally different player. Yes. than when he has been running with the ones for weeks. It's just a different mental headspace for a quarterback. And I think we're going to see the best version of Garrett Nussmeier, not the least of, like, obviously if he's got both of his receivers, I think Wisconsin's defense is vastly overmatched. Now, Fickell, very good defensive mind, will probably have a really good scheme in place. But I think from an athleticism standpoint in space, there is no matchup here for Wisconsin that is a good one. And again, if Nabors and Thomas are playing, all bets are off here. And I want to, and frankly, if I'm LSU, open it up. Open it up. Let him throw. I know they need to figure out some balance next year because Jayden Daniels has been their running game the last 2 years, and they need to figure that part out because a big part of Saban and Les Miles and Coach O's success at LSU was the ability to run the football, and they have not had a traditional running game in Baton Rouge under Brian Kelly. Jayden Daniels has been that. But I think this is not a game to try to find that. I think this is, you need Garrett. I want Garrett Nussmeier chucking it around 43 times. Like, just give him as many reps as possible because it's going to make him better next year.
Agree. I think it's a great way to sum up this game. I do think for Wisconsin, if we want to flip it around, like in terms of motivation, if they win this game, I think maybe a little bit of a, changing of the narrative. They finished the season on a high note after the ups and downs of this year. So LSU probably a little bit disappointed to be in this game. I think Wisconsin fans will descend in Tampa probably well. There'll be a strong showing of Badgers fans down there. But we know LSU's defense has been an issue all season. So there is the doors open, I think, here for Wisconsin to make things interesting. But to your point, Nussmeier and LSU open it up, and I think they got a chance to win this game easily.
A rematch of a Wisconsin LSU game that took place in Lambeau Field a couple of years ago, which my father was at. And you want to know what? My father will be in Tampa as well.